This is a video about perimeter. There's three things that we can measure about shapes. One is perimeter, and we often see it mentioned alongside the idea of area and the idea of volume. Area and volume are things that we'll look at in videos that are still coming, but this video is about the topic of perimeter. So this is a word that you might hear when you hear people talk about doing a perimeter check. So if someone works as a security guard, they might need to do a perimeter check of a property or a building. Or if someone drives a company car, they might be required to do a perimeter check of the vehicle before they get in. If you've ever rented a car, you know that they often will do a perimeter check of the vehicle to look for scratches or anything before you rent it and then when it comes back. So that's a helpful thing to keep in mind when we're thinking about perimeter. So if this is a building and we have a security guard that needs to do a perimeter check, the security guard is going to begin at one part of the building, walk down this side, walk around that side, walk up this side, and the perimeter check will be complete when they get back to where they started. So the person would have walked all the way around the outside of the building. And this is a really helpful mental image when we think about the idea of perimeter, because perimeter is really the distance around the outside of a shape. A couple of words I just want to make draw some attention to. First of all, perimeter is a distance. So we measure distance with units like feet, inches, distance, how far it is from one place to another. And the other thing is that perimeter is not just a distance, it's the distance around the outside. So perimeter isn't around the inside or on the inside of a shape, it's the distance around the outside of a shape. Now, some common uses where places where we might find people using the idea of perimeter. One would be if I had a backyard and or in a park and we wanted to create a garden in the park and we wanted a fence around that garden so that squirrels and rabbits wouldn't get in and eat our vegetables. We'd need to first figure out how much fence do we need? Well, to figure out how much fence, I'm going to start by measuring the distance from here to here. So I'm going to call that side 1. Then I'm going to measure the distance from here to here. I'm going to call that side 2. Then the distance from here to here, I'm going to call that side 3. And then the distance from here to here, I'm going to call that side 4. And then before I go to the hardware store to buy the fence, to find the total amount of fence I need, I'm going to say that the total amount of fence that I need is going to be whatever side 1 was, plus the length of side 2, plus the length of side 3, plus the length of side 4. So just to give an example, if the length of side 1 was 4 meters and the length of side 2 was 6 meters, and let's imagine this is a rectangle, so side 3 is going to be the same as side 1, 4 meters, and side 4 is going to be the same as side 2, 6 meters. Then the total amount of fence that I need to get from the hardware store is going to be the 4 meters from side 1 plus the 6 meters from side 2 plus the 4 meters from side 3 plus the 6 meters from side 4. I'm going to put my units in here, which will give me a total of, I'm just going to do some mental math here, 6 and 4 I know quickly make 10. Those are numbers that are a really nice pair that can be quickly put together. So I've got 2 10s here. I can quickly do that in my head to get 20 meters of fence. So there's the idea of perimeter. I've found out how much fence I need to go around the outside of the garden, and that's what perimeter is. Perimeter is the distance around the outside of a shape. Here's another application of the idea of perimeter. If I was finishing off a room in, let's say, redecorating a room in a house, and the room had, I'm going to say 2 doors to get in. So this is a door right here. This is a door right here. I might want to put some new baseboard around this room. So baseboard right along the edge of the bottom of the wall where the carpet meets the wall. Baseboard around the outside edge of the room. You can see that, with the exception of the doors, that this is, again, just like finding perimeter, because how much baseboard do I need? Well, I need to add up the distance around the outside of this room. So I'll need to measure how long is this wall. So let's talk in terms of feet. Let's say that was 10 feet long. Then I would measure this wall, and let's say that was 14 feet. Let's say it's a rectangle again, so that means opposite sides are the same. 10 feet for this wall, and another 14 feet for this wall. How much baseboard would I need to get from the hardware store? Well, the total distance or length around the room would be equal to 10 plus 14 plus 10 plus 14. Now, doing some quick mental math, the 2 10s I can put together quickly to get 20. The 2 14s I can do in my head quickly to get 28. And 20 and 28 gives me a total of 48 feet of baseboard. I'll have to subtract a little bit for the 2 doors, but if I buy 48 feet, I know I'll certainly have enough. So to find the amount of baseboard to go around the outside of a room, I'm really finding, again, the perimeter. So this is another application of the idea of perimeter. When we're calculating perimeter, well, when we're measuring anything, we use units of measurement. So what are the units of measurement for perimeter? Well, let's start again with what is the definition of perimeter. The perimeter is the distance around the outside of a shape. Keyword here, distance. So what kinds of units of measurement do I use when I measure a distance between 2 places? So I could, if the distance is short, I can measure it in centimeters. That's a metric unit of measurement. I can measure it in inches. That's, let's call that imperial. Those are imperial units of measurement. In metric, if it's a little longer in metric, I might use meters. If it's a little longer than inches in imperial, I might use feet. If it's getting really long in metric, I might use kilometers. In imperial, a little bit bigger than feet, I might use yards. Bigger than that, I might use miles. Those are all different units of measurement that I could use to measure the distance around the outside of a shape. So those are units of measurement for perimeter. Now, depending on the shape, there's also different formulas or formulae for perimeter. And the formula is going to depend on the shape. So if I have a square, and the definition of a square again is that all 4 sides are equal. So whatever the length of this side is, it will be the same as this, and the same as this, and the same as this. So the formula for the area perimeter of a square would be S plus another S plus another, because there's 4 sides that are all the same. I could simplify that and say it's 4 times the length of one side. If it's a rectangle, that means opposite sides will be equal, so we'll have let's call that width and width and length. So the lengths that are opposite are the same, widths that are opposite are the same. To calculate the perimeter of a rectangle is going to be width plus length. Again, I'm imagining myself as a security guard starting in one corner and walking my way around the shape and measuring how far I've walked. So I will walk the width, then the bottom length, then the width up, then the top length. I could summarize this by saying, well, really that's 2 widths plus 2 lengths. You know, we could go through all sorts of other shapes. There's also circles. Now, in circle, we give a special name to the perimeter of a circle. We call it circumference, but there's a special formula for that. If I had a triangle, well, we know triangles have got 3 sides, so we should say side 1, side 2, side 3. So the perimeter of a triangle would just be whatever is side 1 length, plus the length of side 2, plus the length of side 3. So there are a bunch of formulas for calculating perimeter. Most important thing to remember is probably the most basic thing again. What is perimeter? So this, I'm going to pause a minute and let you see if you can remember. What is perimeter? The key word is perimeter is a something around the something of a shape. What do you remember about this word? Perimeter is starts with a D, a distance around the, what do you remember about this word? Starts with an O, tells us where on the shape, around the outside of a shape. That's the definition of perimeter that I think is really helpful to use. The distance around the outside of a shape.